Hey YouTube, I'm Waverly. If you're new here, hello. If you're a returning subscriber, hello. As you probably know, I was in Europe for a long time, and the reason I was there initially was because of an exchange program in France. Basically, the format of that program was I was gonna go live with a family for 3 weeks. First week, I would be going to high school. The exchange students knew a little bit of French, but we weren't fluent, and that high school week was supposed to make us more confident. And then the next 2 weeks were supposed to be at an internship of some sort that we were supposed to choose. And it didn't really go well for me, or for some of the others, as I hear. The first problem arose with the internship. I requested journalism, or technical theater, or graphic design, something like that. And they put me in jewelry making, which at first I was like, hey, that'll be fun to learn, but it wasn't really fun to learn. But we'll get onto that later. So I arrived and we went to high school, and that was nice. I liked the girls' friends. And it was when we came back that I started having problems with the family, but I didn't think it was a big deal. So the mom decided that we take a little weekend trip to Spain because we were in Toulouse, which is right next to Spain. It's closer to Spain than it is to Paris, if that makes sense. And so we went to Figueres, which, I mean, I'm so grateful for that trip. I know that they planned on going to that trip for me, but it wasn't the best. I was just staying with a girl and her mom, and the mom invited the girl's boyfriend to come, and they're the type of couple that's like, I feel really bad for just doing that. When they're near each other, they're the only people they see. Like, all they do is make baby talk with each other, hug each other 24/7, kiss each other 24/7. But I mean, that was fine. I was like, whatever. And whenever, like, the mom and them would talk, they had each other. They didn't really pay much attention to me. They just sort of spoke in fast French. And they know that I'm not fluent in French. We made that very clear. And if you want me to understand and be able to participate, you're going to have to speak slower. But I could have barged in and been like, or at least tried to talk to them in French, but it's kind of hard when you don't even know what the subject is. I didn't really want to barge in because I felt like they were doing so much for me by taking me to Spain and whatnot, that it would be rude for me to demand of them to speak slower or in English for me. So I just sort of stayed quiet. And that continued even after the boyfriend left and we were back home. We'd be like sitting at the table and the mom and the girl would be talking in fast French, and I'd be like, cool. I didn't really do anything about it. I thought it was fine. And in France, there's a lot of things that are considered rude that aren't considered rude in America, so I was paying attention to what my host sister was doing to figure out what was considered polite and not. Like, for example, if you do this, like if you put your head in your hand, that's considered rude. It means that you're bored or whatever. So don't do that if you're in France. So like whenever we would be at home doing nothing, and she'd go sit on the couch and like start using her phone. I was like, oh, okay, so it's okay for me to go on the couch and use my phone too. So I would go on the couch, read my book, use my phone, do whatever, while she did that. I thought that was okay. We didn't really talk. I don't know. I looked to her for example, and that was the example that she was posing. So 1 week of the internship goes by, I'm really homesick. Me and the girl aren't really talking. She was being really passive aggressive with me the whole time. Well, ever since I got back from high school. Like, for example, we were both sitting on a couch. She gets up to leave. I'm in front of her, so I move my feet back so that she will be able to get through. There's a table in front of us. So like I have to move my feet back so that she'll be able to fit through, and she tells me not to put my feet on the couch, and I'm like, my feet aren't on the couch, I'm lifting them up so that you can get past. Would you rather I not move and have you trip and stumble, or what do you want me to do? So I don't know, I felt like she didn't like me. I couldn't figure out why. And at the internship, the jewelry making internship, I guess they were expecting people who knew how to make jewelry, and the girl knew how to make jewelry. Her high school was jewelry making oriented, so she's been doing this, so she knows what she's doing. I don't know what I'm doing, and so the intern lady kind of left it up to her to teach me everything, which isn't really fair to her. For example, my friend, she went to a different internship that was fashion, and they made her spend 7 hours making a collar. 7 hours. Like, we're high schoolers. And in the high school itself, you know how it's jewelry making oriented? They made me file a small piece of metal, it's like this big, they made me file it for 4 hours until it was perfectly flat. Like, that's the level of professionalism they're looking for here, and I'm like, I've never done this before in my life, I don't know what you want me to do. So the first week goes by, it's Friday, and we arrive at the internship, and the hostess's mom is there for some reason. And then one of the teachers who's like organizing this program from the French side, he shows up too, and I'm like, oh, I guess it's just a routine checkup, he's going around checking things up, but that wasn't the case. So he came over to me and he was like, so you like jewelry making, huh? And I'm like, well, I've never done it before, but it's interesting. And he was like, what do you mean you haven't done it before? Why would you choose this internship? And I said, I didn't choose this internship. He was like, no, in the record it says you specifically requested jewelry making. I was like, no, I didn't. He says, it's in the records. And I'm like, I asked for journalism. And he said, oh, then I guess your school must have made a mistake. I'm like, thanks, school. So I thought that was it. But then I noticed the mom and the host sister are looking extremely angry, and I'm like, what's going on here? I feel like I'm being left out of some big joke. What everyone knew something was going on except for me. So they're all speaking in French, and I'm like, what are they talking about? And then he turns and says, so, do you like how you've been living with this family? Do you like this family? I'm like, yeah, it's good. And he said, well, they don't think so. Basically, since I was being quiet, because I'm shy and I don't speak the language, they thought I was being rude and disrespectful. What the mom said to me personally was that since I was shy, and she pantomimes like this, since I was shy, she wasn't going to reach out to me unless I reached out to her. And then on top of that, the host sister told me that I was disrespecting her stuff. And you want to know why? Because I was staying in her bedroom, and there was only one drawer which I could put my stuff in, and so I put my clothes in it. The rest of my stuff, I kept it in/on my bag, in the corner, out of the way, because that's all I could fit in the drawer. I only had one drawer to put my stuff in. It was a small room, but that's fine, I don't care. And she told me that the room was messy. What am I supposed to do? Where do you want me to put my bag? You want me to throw it out the window? You want me to put everything in the drawer? Because it's not all going to fit in that drawer. She thought the room was messy, she thought I was being disrespectful, and that's why she was being passive-aggressive and taking her anger out on me all throughout the week. And I was like, why didn't you just tell me? I just wish they would have told me before they told a teacher and called him over, because they were going to send me to boarding school. So the girl that I was staying with, her high school, you sleep there during the week, and then during the weekend you come home. It's like an hour and a half away from Toulouse. And so they were going to send me there for the remainder of my stay, all alone. The girl wasn't coming, it would just be me. I was going to have to go to classes, stay in the dorms. No one there spoke English except for the English teacher, and it's not like I can rely on the English teacher all the time. There's no Wi-Fi there. I wouldn't be able to contact my family or use a translator. And I'm like, all this because I was shy? Why didn't you tell me? At this point, I was like crying, and the host sister just glared at me and rolled her eyes. We got back. I just sort of stayed in the room the whole time. I was like laying on the bed, trying to sleep, not sleeping. I was waiting for my parents to wake up because there's a time change, obviously, so it was still morning here while I was over there. It was like middle of the night, actually, not morning. So I was just waiting for them to wake up so I could contact them and be like, what do I do? How it worked out was I left France altogether. I was already planning on going to England after France. I just went early and met up with my brother because he was in Paris at the time on a trip. So he was coming home, and so I just met up with him at the train station in London, King's Cross. And we all went to Cambridge, and it was okay. I did not think it was a good experience for me. I love France, the country's pretty. I'm glad I got to learn a bit more of the language, but I really wish that experience with that family had not happened. And if you could tell me your take on it, what I could have done differently, what they could have done differently, maybe there are some more French customs that I don't know, but yeah. Leave a like, don't forget to subscribe, bye! you.